Okay, I just wanted to share this new feature on my Genome Link that I thought was pretty cool. I already shared some of it on my page, but um, this is my ancient bloodlines. These are DNA matches to actual um, people that died long ago. So usually they give like names to these. I thought like Eve or whatever, but um, this guy seems to be my strongest match. Let's see. So where's the Jura Mountains? Oh, over there. So, oh, there's multiple people right here. Okay. So, anciently, I got a lot over in southern Germany, it looks like. And, woman from Cardial Times. Pottery creator, huh? What did that guy do? Just his ancestral man. And we got this person who apparently was a cannibal victim in France. Those French people and their interesting diet. Let's see what else we got here. Antolian, am I pronouncing that correctly? Woman from Bulgaria. Bulgaria. Okay. And you can tell all these percentages are pretty low because, well, I mean, if you look up here, you'll see on top, these are thousands upon thousands of years ago. So, not Fian man. It brought me over here. Where's not Fian man? I don't know. I can't find him. Somewhere over there. Boy from Fertile Crescent. Oh, back to here. There we go. Neolithic Lithuanian man. Okay. Well, that's cool. Brazilian potter woman. So this is two of the indigenous American ancestries, which I can't really find in my normal family tree, so I'm not really sure how it relates, but Brazilian potter woman. Hunter from Croatian island. Okay. Girl from Near East. Not a whole lot of descriptors in here, is there? Oh, I guess they got more information where they were found. I'm going to go back to... Ah, where are we? Ancient bloodlines. There we go. So double click. No? Okay, here we go. Hmm. Oh, that even breaks them down by periods. Let's do that. I'm going to go back to summary. All right, where were we? Brazilian potter woman. I'm interested to know more about Brazilian potter woman. Brazilian hunter-gatherers, skeletal remains. Okay. Haplogroup originated in Asia and found in Russia Far East. The most common haplogroup in... Okay. Cool. I just find all this interesting. What do we got here? Oh, I already did that one. fisherman kid inhabiting Danby River banks. Okay. Cool. I keep clicking back too far, apparently. Where were we? Sardinian. Where is the Sardinian? I don't know. She's around here somewhere. I don't know where Sardinian is. Pottery artist. Got all these people. Serbian man. So that was his home? Is that what you're saying? He really let it go. Ah. Alright, sorry. That's where we were. Iron Age Scotland. There's a lot on here. Gibraltar. Alright, let's do a rich man grave in Spain. Why does it do that? He's not a rich man, he's a man buried in a rich grave. I'm not sure what the difference is, but 400, 600 CE. Okay. Okay, he was in a rich grave. California Native American woman? Oh, these are all 0%. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. A lot of zeros. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Where are all these? Okay, whatever. So, Serbia. Northern Hunter. Ancient Britain. I don't know, I find all this fascinating. And when I compare it to my other reports, I haven't purchased all of them because, I don't know, they're expensive, I think. But if I check my global ancestry, you know, obviously Northern Europe, Northwestern Europe is my biggest, right up in here, followed by Eastern Europe, then Iberian, where Spain is now, Italian, the Near East, and Dravidian, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, mainland East Asia. All these are tied for last place. It's like North Africa, West Africa. So, kind of cool. Which is kind of weird because I had those ancestral ties to ancient bloodlines. Maybe they just haven't found the link, I don't know, to Native Americans. Like, I think Mayan was around here, and nothing. But I kind of wonder if like they pick it at certain time periods for accuracy. You can tell these people aren't exactly ancient bloodlines. These are like 1,000 or so years ago, I think. So, but it breaks it down on each chromosome, and how it's tied. So I find all this information just fascinating. But just fascinating. and it breaks it down within regions. Because according to my ancestry, according to my family tree, what should be the biggest is this area and this area. But according to this, it's only 10% and 11% for Germany. So, you know, there's a lot of back and forth, and I think the furthest back my family tree may go is the 1400s or maybe 1300s that I can think of. But according to my DNA, focusing on European ethnicities, I'm tied for Great Britain and Irish. So that's pretty cool. So, but there's a lot of further breakdown. I'm not sure. I don't see every ethnicity on here, so maybe they just match the ones that I match with. I would think that I would have some Welsh or even Scottish in there, but it looks like they just kind of lumped Great Britain all together with the UK. Not sure how I feel about that. But Iberian, that one keeps coming up. German, South Slavic, where the etymology of the word slave comes from, or the Slavs. Southern Italy, Basque. I had a seminary teacher when I was younger who her family, her and her husband were Basque. Might be fun to see if we're related. Central European Jewish, Scandinavian, which is kind of weird because I don't know. It looks like I would have been more, but Tirolino Alpine? I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay. Roma. I'm a gypsy. 1% gypsy. Balkan. French. That's probably a good thing. Hispanic Jews. I'm not really sure on the disconnect there. I'm sure there's a lot of back and forth, but Mediterranean Islander. So that's kind of a cool. So I got two Islander populations. I don't know if it's saying that more likely here and a little less here, but it kind of looks like it's saying that. I just find all this just really fascinating stuff. What kind of Viking am I? Now this is the one that doesn't make sense to me compared to the other ones, because it's saying out of my Viking heritage, because it says that I'm very little Scandinavian according to the European breakdown. It says as far as Viking way goes, Scandinavian Viking is my biggest ancestry. So, and we got British Vikings and Slavic Vikings and Finnish Vikings. And my understanding is this area is considered, yeah, Scandinavia, obviously. And this, maybe this, I don't know, it's considered Nordic to include Scandinavian. So, very, very interesting stuff. This one I really didn't like quite as much. I'm more fascinated by the ancient bloodlines and the ancient ancestry, so if you go on there, just be prepared for that. It just gives, oh, you had ancestors that were hunter-gatherers. No kidding. You know? First farmers. You know? Steppe Pastores is my biggest ones. I wish it would take me straight down there. Where is the steppe? Indigenous Americans. Now this is the thing that bugs me, because it says that, I think it showed like at least one, maybe two, ancient people that I'm genetically tied to. But then it says that I am basically zero Indigenous American. So I just want to know, say 0%. Is it such a small percentage that they just rounded down to 0? Or is it like back the other direction on the back end, you know, through here when they came over from here? And a lot of this DNA history hasn't really caught up with a lot of the newer migration science for whatever reason. But this is my biggest one. 5,000 years ago, on the edge of Eastern Europe, is the forest grave way to grassland on the east. So it was the Celts, Germans. I thought the Celts actually encompassed the Germans, but maybe they're breaking it down further. Because then you have like the Gauls and the Celtic Empire, which was really a loose gathering of Germanic and French. Well, I gotta look into that again because maybe they're just breaking it down further. Where's the map for these guys? Okay, is this Scandinavian ice sheet? Dodgerland? What's Dodgerland? Looks like it's in the ocean. Because isn't this Denmark and this is British? Huh. Oh, another thing to look. West African is. I had two 1%ers in African on my global. Yeah, 1%, 1%. And South Asian is 6%. South Asian. No map for South Asian. I guess they stood put. I don't know. I'm waiting on the results for this one, since this is my biggest DNA contributor. Ancient European and Neanderthal. Those are really cool too. Check report. Come on, let's go. So my biggest ancient Europeans were megalith builders. Bronze Age herders. Maritime farmers. Now, what the heck are maritime farmers? This isn't maritime like in the ocean. They farmed the ocean? I don't know. I don't know. But that's the biggest. So megalith builders. I built Stonehenge, Newgrange, Temples of Malta. Okay. And this is 6,000 to 5,000 BC. I really hope the science gets a little bit more precise with a lot of this stuff because I just find all this stuff really cool. So this is okay. This is a newer group. I think I remember reading about them in the 90s. Them discovering like a tooth or something like that. And from what I understand, I don't know if this breaks it down, but my understanding from when I read about it back in the day is the people had the highest Denisovians, I don't know how to pronounce it properly, DNA, were the Aboriginals of Australia. I don't know if that's 100%, but I don't have, looks like any of that, but I am 1.4% Neanderthal. And I have more Neanderthal DNA than 53.7% of genome linkers. Superpowers. This is the interesting stuff that I get into, like conspiracy theory type stuff here. So it has to do with COVID. So in 2020, the world was racked by COVID, originating in China but spreading all across the world. Over the next few years, certain patterns became evident who was susceptible: the old and those with comorbidities like obesity or type 2 diabetes. Excuse me. But it turns out that some genetic variation was also at play. One of the genetic markers associated with a higher risk of death from COVID-19 was found to exist in ranges from 10% in Europeans to as high as 40% in those from South Asia. And it turns out to have originally come from Neanderthals. So this is the conspiracy theory that I've come up with. That we have elements that funded so I think most people are on the same page, even though the media tried to kind of like poo-poo it back in the day, or in 2020, not that far ago, that it came from a lab leak in Wuhan, right? COVID came from there, COVID-19. And I think that certain people have made pretty strong cases that the NIH help fund some of the stuff over there at that Wuhan lab. So if that's true, this is just a conspiracy theory to me. Why would they be playing with COVID, which apparently came from Neanderthals? Why were they bringing that back? Because it would mean that Europeans would have the highest resistance to it. Because Europeans have the highest, to my knowledge, DNA count of Europeans. I mean, you can see where they were from, all throughout Europe here. I mean, back in the day, this was all basically uninhabited. Yeah, that's my great grandfather right there. Okay. Appearance. So, like modern humans, Neanderthals were variable in hair color. So that explains why Europeans have so many different shades of hair color. Some had red hair, which I have a genetic marker for. Most of it's gone white these days. While most had darker hair. Some of the variation in the light and dark in modern humans seem to have inherited from the Neanderthals who lived in Europe 500,000 years. And yet, to this date, no Neanderthal red hair variant has been found among European gingers. Well, that doesn't make any sense. So we got red hair. Where did the European... Okay, now this is confusing to me. So I keep reading different reports. I just saw this. Australian Aboriginals had as much Neanderthal ancestry as Europeans were suggestive of a possibility that the mixing occurred in the Middle East between expanding African hunters and Neanderthals native to the hills of Iraq and Iran. Yeah, you got it wrong. I read it wrong back in the day. If your mood is blue, perhaps you owe that to Neanderthals. For thousands of generations, Neanderthals lived in very small bands at the edge of the Eurasian tundra, in contrast to our ancestors that arranged bigger social groups. One of the consequences of this difference may be that Neanderthals are different from our own lineage, and some of that difference has been carried down to the present. I gotta chase this down. I know you guys are all probably bored, or if anybody even watches this. And this shows the Middle East. There is a conundrum that is they lack identifiable fossil trail that Neanderthals because have been known to species. So maybe this is what I was referencing. I think that's the tooth that I was talking about earlier. New Guinea likely have at least two mixing organisms. We're not descendants of the Atlantic Homo erectus, species that had first arrived in East Asia more than 1 million years ago. So, Homo erectus, considered the human that first basically started being erect or upright, not descendants of that. So, curious and curiouser. Yeah. I don't know. According to this, I mean, New Guinea's down there. You got portions of the Middle East, India, Southeast Asia. I don't know. It seems like their area would have been closer to Australia, so I must have read that wrong back in the day. So we got Europe, Mediterranean, some parts of I guess, the Middle East. Uzbekistan. So, I'm waiting on this one. So I'll be interested in find out what that's all about. I think I've taken you down all of this stuff. But that's my ancestry. So, I guess I could show you my family tree, but I don't want to bore you too much. I probably already have. Alright. Hey. One like. Okay. Alright. Well, tell me what you think. It's probably a long video, but yeah, I just thought it was fascinating, so I thought I'd share it. Where is... There it is.